topics for today. Today is November 5th. No, today is November 6th, 2019. Two headlines I heard that will absolutely never make the mainstream media. Topic one. 11,000. Oh, this one will make the mainstream media, but not for the correct reason. 11,000 supposedly scientists, global scientists, have declared that the only way to save a population crisis, a climate crisis, is through drastic population. See, the adjectives give away who's in charge. These scientists, so-called scientists, take their funding directly from the political means of the used-to-be global warming, now climate change socialists. Now they made a document. How apropos, how very convenient that the climate crisis is now, we're well into the 2020 cycle. So how convenient that now there's another crisis. Listen, these so-called experts can't even tell you with certainty what the weather is going to be through tonight. And you're trusting these bought and paid for scientists. See, if they do not take this government funding and they choose to say, you know what, we don't actually have a climate crisis, they lose their funding. They are marginalized. They are removed from the list. This 97 falsehood that keeps recirculating. The same people that say there's an island, a Texas-sized island of plastic that nobody's ever taken a picture of. A Texas-sized island of plastic that nobody's got a picture of. Texas-size would be seen from a satellite if it actually existed. But I wanted to get onto the second one because the second one's much, much more devastating. And this is the one that the mainstream media on today, November 6th, even though the story broke yesterday, will bury the fact. A family of fundamental Mormon individuals living with dual citizenship in Mexico. The story that you will hear if you're only listening to the local news, the ABC, NBC, CNN affiliates, the Disney affiliates, the Hollywood News. The story you will hear is that they were mistaken for rival gang members. They were mistaken. If they were mistaken for rival gang members, why would they have chased down the children and shot them? They chased them down. One 12-year-old had to escape and try to rescue a few of his brothers and sisters and hide under sticks, and they ran. And they had to hike for miles to get help. That part of the story will you hear. Not if they're trying to create the narrative that, hey, this is a dangerous place to live and there's some gang problems or whatever, and they were mistaken. But see, when the real narrative comes out, I don't want to say too many things specifically about the Mormon doctrine, but the Mormons at least believe themselves to be Christian. But rival gang members don't like people of faith. Rival gang members want their territory. You don't chase down kids. You don't chase down 9-year-olds and shoot them if you're not trying to send a message. You don't set the car on fire after you've done all of that if you're just, it's a case of mistaken identity. But that's the story that you will continue to hear unless you hear a story from a Catholic perspective. How do you hear a story from a Catholic perspective? Well, you better find yourself some Catholic media. Your first chance is the National Catholic Register. EWTN has a ton of Catholic radio stations. If you don't like EWTN, if you think that for some reason they're part of this so-called cabal, there are, what is it called? Relevant Radio. There are many avenues of Catholic news that give you an awful lot more truth. Do you know that the Catholic Church was the proponent, the founders of the scientific method? You want the hard evidence. If you want the factual truth, yes, Catholic news, by its very definition, is bias, right? It's biased news. However, there isn't a single news network that is honest that tries to say that they're not biased. All the ones that try to tell you that they are not biased are the phonies. EWTN makes no qualms about the fact that we are news from a Catholic perspective. It's when you hear no spin, it's when you hear, just the facts, you are getting slanted news, and they can't even tell you the truth about who they are. Embrace the title of fake news when you know that you're spinning the story, and at least say, it's from our perspective. But if you're trying to blanket the mass, low information listener or watcher, then you have to create the narratives that, oh, hey, this is just the facts. And you see how bad they are? The Alinsky tactics will never give you the facts. And that's why I want to know, if anybody's actually still listening to this, I want to know, did you hear the point about the kids being chased down by these gang members, these cartel gang members? Did you hear that point? And if so, where did you hear it? Did you hear it from me? Did you hear it from a Catholic news source? Or did you actually hear it reported on CBS, ABC, NBC, Disney? I mean, they're all owned by Disney now. Even the Fox affiliates are still owned by the same companies. So I'm sorry. I want to know. Tell me the truth. Did you hear the fact? Because that's a pretty important fact, that unless you're trying to bury the actual story here, that this was another targeted Christian attack in a very hostile area. The Christian faith, in all its splendor, in all its variety, has become the largest target in the world by both the atheist, the politically activated, the Satanist, the rival religions. There is no greater assault than against the fullness of truth. There's priests getting their throats slit every day. Yesterday, I heard a story about 800 issues of theft and vandalism in the French Catholic churches. They're still driving cars into Catholic churches. Lord, save your people, we pray.